podcast, we are going to look at how outliers affect data. So for the first example, we're going to look at the populations of 10 cities in Minnesota from 2013. So after looking at the data, which city appears to be an outlier in the data? And what is the population of that city? So if you look at the numbers, Minneapolis has a really high population in comparison to the rest of the cities. Hopkins seems pretty low, 18,000. So if I had to guess, it might be either one of those two, the 400,000, maybe the 18,000. So let's write this down. So I would say for sure Minneapolis. Which has a population of 400,070. And what about Hopkins? Which has a population of 18,025. Let's calculate the 5-number summary as the first step for finding an outlier. You can do this by hand or with a calculator. If you want to do it by hand, put them in order. Find the median, then look at everything below the median, and find the middle of that, and that's Q1. Look at everything above the median, find Q3, which is the middle of the upper half of data, and the min and the max. I'm going to do it with a calculator. So with the calculator, I'll go to the home screen, new document, add a list and spreadsheet. Let's just name this pop for population. Let's type them in. So Minneapolis was 400,070. St. Louis Park was 47,411. Hopkins was 18,025. Minnetonka was 51,368. Plymouth was 73,987. Maple Grove was 65,415. Edina was 49,376. Eagan is 65,453. Eden Prairie is 62,603. And Bloomington was 86,319. Go to a cell that's not on your list. We're going to go to Menu, Statistics, Stat Calculations, One Variable Statistics. There's one list. It's called Population. And we have a bunch of information here. Let me move up. Including our 5-number summary. So we have the minimum, Q1, median, Q3, and maximum. So I'm going to write those down. And we are going to find the outliers. So again, the first step is finding the 5-number summary for an outlier. The minimum was Hopkins at 18,025. Q1 was 49,376. The median was 64,009. Q3 was 73,987. And the maximum, Minneapolis at 400,070. Find the interquartile range. Interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. In this case, it's 73,987 minus 49,376. And I got 24,611. We're going to take this number and we're going to multiply it by 1.5. So we have 24,611 times 1.5. And I'm going to call this the magic number to find the fences. So this is 36,916.5. This is our magic number here. We're going to take this magic number. To find the lower fence, we will subtract it from Q1. And to find the upper fence, we're going to add it to Q3. So let's do that down here. So the lower fence is Q1 minus the number, and the upper fence is Q3 plus that number from the previous step. So I wrote down the numbers. This will be 49,376 was Q1, minus the number which was 36,916.5. That's the lower fence. And for that, I got 12,459.5. So anything below this is an outlier. So we can see Hopkins is not below this. Hopkins is not an outlier. Let's look at the upper fence. The upper fence will be Q3, which was 73,987, plus 36,916.5. added those together, I got 110,904. So here's our lower fence, here's our upper fence, and so we can see that Minneapolis is an outlier because it lies above 110,000. Let's calculate the mean, which is the average, and the median for the populations. But do not include the outlier in your calculations. Show your work below. Now recalculate the mean and median for the populations, but include the outlier. So I'm going to do this one first. This is in my calculator already. So if I look at the average is X bar, so I'm just looking at these stats that we have. Here's the average, 92,002.7. So I'm going to write that down right here. Move this down a little bit so I can see both. Okay, so this is with the outlier, and the average was 92,000 for the cities, 2.7. The median is 64,009. And above it said, do not include the outlier. So I'm going to recalculate this. What I'm going to do is go back to my list here. I'm going to delete this 86,319, and I'm going to just put it instead of the Minneapolis. So it was 86,319. I better double check that. Okay, yeah, that was Bloomington. Okay, so now I'm going to recalculate this information over on the side here with just 9 pieces of data with that outlier removed. I'm going to go to Menu, Statistics, Stat Calculations, 1 variable. And my list was called Population. And let's overwrite this. Okay, so now here's our new information. Here's our new average, 57,773. So I'm going to write that in. 57,773, and our new median, new middle number, will change, of course. It's 62,603. All right, so this is without the outlier, and this is with the outlier. So the supporting questions, the next one is, look at the calculations for the mean, the average. Did the outlier have a significant effect on the average population? So here are the average outliers. So this is our average. Here are the averages without the outlier, with the outlier. Were they impacted? And you can see that if you include the outlier, that changes our average quite significantly. If we look at the populations of the cities, I mean, none of them are close to 92,000. That Minneapolis kind of pulls everything up. Whereas this is kind of a more accurate representation of most of the cities are around 57,773, except for Minneapolis. The next question is, what of the median? Was the median calculation affected? You can see not nearly as much by that outlier. Since there was just one more term, it bumped up the median a little bit, but not as much as it affected the mean. So again, what we did today is we practiced finding outliers. We found that Minneapolis was an outlier, and we saw what it affected more, the mean or the median.